What's up guys, welcome to another video. In today's video I have two really exciting phones to show you that I traded with a friend of mine yesterday for, well, a different phone that I haven't featured on the channel yet. But that's why there's going to be a long backstory in this video, because I want to also talk about how I got the phone that I traded for these two, and how I got that phone basically as well, because there's quite a lot to it. There's a really exciting and pretty interesting story to it, so let's just get straight to it. So about a month ago now, I think, I basically met a new friend in one of the two schools I go to, and we kind of just became friends. We started to get to know each other. Uh, we kind of found out that we are both into phones. So what he did is he gave me two phones to try and fix up. A S7, really cracked, really used, that was rooted, had twerp on it, but had no OS. So that was an easy fix. I just flashed the newest stock ROM on there and it worked completely fine after that. Did a few battery health tests and that's it. But the second phone was his personal main phone for, I think, about a year or so. It was a Samsung Galaxy A70 in pretty much mint condition with a screen protector. But it had lots of issues. He said it just died on him one day and wouldn't charge anymore, so he brought it to a repair center and they replaced everything. They replaced everything except the display. The new battery, and the motherboard. Except for the display and the motherboard, everything was replaced. Subboard was replaced, battery was replaced, I could see that. And a whole bunch of other little parts, but it still wouldn't show any life at all. Not a single bit. So what I did is I took them home, plugged in the A70 into a USB tester, and it was taking zero charge. Absolutely zero charge. So then I opened up the phone, and by the way, he basically said that I could keep this phone at this point, because he was really wanting to get rid of it, because it was broken. What I did is I reconnected the battery, reconnected the cable that goes from the sub to the main board, and the entire phone sprung back to life. The entire thing just completely worked again. It started charging and everything. Uh, I couldn't believe my eyes. We were so happy. And he did really want the phone back after that. I was like, wait, can I get it back now? And we just laughed so hard at that. Oh man, it was amazing. It was probably still one of my most fun moments I've had this year. It was so fun. It was so freaking funny. The entire thing seemed dead. I just reconnected two cables and the entire phone went back to life. But yeah, it had a case on it, it had a screen protector on it. It wasn't black, in case you're curious. It was a really, really, really good A70. And it still had its data on it, so I was like, of course you'll get it back. And he was like, well, in return, you'll get this S20 Fe 4G, which was a mint color, mint condition as well, S20 Fe 4G, which he gave to me because I fixed this A70, which was really, really nice. Now, this is the phone that I forgot to feature on my channel. It was a mint cloud green S20 Fe Exynos 4G with 6 gigs of RAM, so it was the absolute crappiest S20 Fe, but it was in mint condition. It had a plastic screen protector on it. It had a little crack in the corner of the display, but it was pretty damn minor. It had zero burn-in. The back plastic was in really good condition. It still had that little sticker in the middle where it says the model number and the storage capacity. But it also had an issue. It would only charge wirelessly. Guess what the issue was? I opened up the phone, reconnected the sub to main board's cable, and it started charging again. Now, to be fair, this one did have an extra little issue. The charging port stopped working again after a day, but then I left it overnight and it completely worked again, and it has worked ever since. So, yeah, that was really lucky. But the thing is, I already have an S25G, which I'm filming on right now. So I was like, what am I going to do with an S25G? And furthermore, S20 FE. Sorry, S20 FE. And furthermore, that S20 FE was bootloader unlocked. So you couldn't update it unless you manually updated the firmware, which I did do, by the way. So I wanted to custom ROM it, of course. But that's where, the fun ends. Because first of all, it's an Exynos S20 FE 4G. So it's the rarest version and the crappiest version, which means there are pretty much no custom ROMs for it available at all. I'd say I found two, but not nothing more. For the 5G, there were quite a lot, but for the 4G version that I had, the Exynos, there were only two custom ROMs that I could find. And for the newer Samsung phones, which I didn't even know, I think from the S20 series and up, you need a FB meta file, which you need to flash in Odin along with the custom recovery that you want to flash. And I just couldn't find a file for my 4G. First of all, these files are really hard to find. Second of all, if you have a more rare phone like the FE4G Exynos that I had, you're pretty much done. You can just either throw away the phone or just keep it stock with, well, a unlocked bootloader and maybe rooted. But that's not what I want. The optimization was really crap on One UI on that one. But yeah, it was pretty much useless to me at that point because no custom ROM means no fun. And it was also the crappiest version. So why would I use it when I have my S25G, which literally has twice the RAM, and is literally faster, is much more efficient too. So yeah, I was looking to trade phones. I was looking to trade the S20 FE, not 5G, damn it. I was looking to trade the S20 FE 4G that I had with someone for a good phone that was basically equally as good. Except I could custom ROM it and it was fun, and you know, it is actually half decent, and it's actually something I want because I really didn't like that S20 FE. And also, I did get the S20 FE with its original box, its original receipt, and even its original warranty receipt, where it shows that the phone has been serviced once. I still have that. I can show you it. Here I have it. S20 FE with a really nice box, but I'm giving this to the person that I traded the S20 FE with for these two mystery phones with as well. But yeah, as you can see, the original price of €360, 2-year warranty, mint green, 120 gig S20 FE. So yeah, that's basically it. And as you can see from the model number on the bottom, the SMG 780F, it is an Exynos. Just to kind of prove my point here. And it's not an, if it was a 780G, then it would have been a Snapdragon. But really, really sadly, it isn't. But yeah, I didn't know what to do with that S20 FE because it only had 6 gigs of RAM. And why in the world use that when I have an S25G with 12 gigs of RAM? It couldn't be custom ROM'd due to not enough documentation, not enough files to even flash a custom recovery. Because there were FB meta files that you could flash with an S20 FE 5G, a few I'd say, but not for my 4G version. Pretty much none that I could download from the internet at least. So yeah, it was bootloader unlocked. So if I ever wanted to update the phone, I would need to completely wipe the damn thing. And it had a tiny little crack, but that really doesn't matter to me. And it was just kind of crappy, to be honest. The battery health on it was 76%, which is also not too great, but that is better than my S25G, which is at 72%. It really needs a new battery. I know I will get one day. Just not right now, because it's close to Christmas time. So it will most definitely, I'd say, be around next year, January, February, I'll get a new battery for my S25G. But yeah, I really wanted to trade it, but my friends pretty much didn't have anything decent that I could trade it with, because I really wanted to get good stuff in return, because it was as good as new condition, but I couldn't sell the phone because it's bootloader unlocks, and then people are going to complain that they can't update it. And if I, sell it as, slight crack in the screen, bootloader unlocked, so the phone can't update, and I sell it at a discounted price, that still sucks, because I want to get stuff in return. I don't care about the money, because it's not going to be a lot of money, because the phone has, faults that I can't fix. I can't relock the bootloader from what I know. Plus, that would be such a mess. I just really wanted to get rid of it at that point. So, I finally traded it with a friend. I'd say 4 weeks later now. And this is what I got in return. I'll adjust the camera. A Samsung Galaxy S10. in this beautiful green color. Yeah, that is something different, huh? And I definitely do like this. I'm much happier with this. The I was gonna say optical fingerprint scanner, but it's a ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. Works completely fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this phone. It does have a few faults, but this isn't as useless as the S20 FE. It's definitely not useless by any means. I'll show you the little damage that it has. Um, yeah, if you take a look at the display, you can see a tiny crack in the corner there, basically, that goes along there. And the ugliest crack really is that one. That reminds me of my S20 5G. I'm going to have to mention that a lot between those stupid two models. And there's a crack here. But that's it. The AMOLED on this is mint. I'll turn up the brightness for you if it wants to. Yep, this AMOLED is absolutely gorgeous. There's not a single bit of burn-in. The S20 FE, I said it didn't have burn-in, but it actually had a very slight amount of burn-in here where notifications were for too long. This doesn't even have that. This is like absolutely amazing looking AMOLED. Most of the phones that I get back from my friends have like really bad burn-in or something, or a purple tint to the AMOLED, which I still don't know how that's caused. I still want to know. So if anybody knows how that's caused, please let me know down in the comments. But yeah, my S20 5G, for example, has TikTok burn-in, stupid brain rot, yuckers, and also has two cracks. Two pretty nasty little cracks. So yeah. But yeah, this is the green model. I don't exactly remember how they called this green color, but it is 1440p. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's not 120 hertz, of course. I know, but honestly, this is for an AMOLED that looks this good and is in this good condition. I don't really care. I also think the design on this is really cool because they never got back to this. Samsung never went back to this design. Lots of people also think that the S20 was a design downgrade over the S10. And while I disagreed on that before I had an S10, now that I do have an S10, I kind of have to agree. I mean, this color looks amazing. My S20 is a really ugly gray one. But also this camera bump. They never went back to that. It's really odd. I mean, you kind of have a limit with this, with how many cameras you can add, because the S10 5G looks absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, this is such a unique design. No one, from what I could tell, no other manufacturer ever put the hole punch on this side. They would never put it on the right side. They would either put it on the left, like the Nothing Phone 1 in the OnePlus Nord 1, or they just shove it in the middle, like the Note 10 and the S20. But they never put it on the right side. But Samsung did. And from what I can tell, not any other manufacturer ever did this again, and I just find that really interesting. And I think it looks a lot better on the S10 than the S10 Plus. I think the extra ultra wide selfie camera, like the OnePlus Nord 1 also has, it looks really bad. I think it's way too big. I mean, if you put it in the middle, it would also look really ugly, but yeah, I just don't like that. I really don't like secondary ultra wide cameras. So yeah, this is also absolutely perfect size. Beautiful edge display. So yeah, I definitely do think that this alone would have been partially worth it. Not completely, but we have a secondary phone, which is really the cream of the crop here. But yeah, this one doesn't have good adhesive anymore. I can just take off the back. Yeah, so easy back glass replacement and also an easy battery replacement, which this absolutely needs. So I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, the back glass, by the way, does have a little bit of a crack there, in case you haven't noticed it. I actually had a peach color back glass for the S10, but I gave it back to my friend. And although I really wanted it back, because I could make this S10 custom by putting that peach back glass on it. So it would be, peach color, like orange peach color, and it would be silver frame, which, well, that doesn't exist. That's basically custom, because the peach one also had a peach looking frame. But he said he broke that back glass, which really sucks. I would have loved to have that. I really wanted to build a custom S10, and I did have parts for an S10, but he wanted it back. And now he had the parts, and now he gave it to me, which is exactly the same display. But yeah, Was it a good trade? Yes, I do think this is a good trade. I'm absolutely going to custom ROM this. And yes, it is set to 1440p in case you're curious. But yeah, I am really happy with this phone. It's in pretty good condition. It does have a few cracks, but the AMOLED makes up for it. It is in absolutely mint condition AMOLED. And the battery is really, really bad in this though. The battery is absolutely atrocious. It's definitely going to need a battery replacement, which kind of sucks because I don't want to spend too much on these phones because these phones are basically cost free. I don't pay anything for these phones. I just trade them. Um, and once they're not cost free anymore, they're just not cost free anymore. And you really do want them to be good at this point. At that point, I realized that when I did my A3 2016 battery replacement. Um, but yeah, that is just a risk that you have to take as a phone collector, I suppose, if you want good battery life on your phones. But yeah, the S20 will probably be first. I will first throw a custom ROM on here. There are also people who reported that the battery life was still kind of bad with a new battery, so it may as well just be One UI being crappy One UI, and it will definitely get a custom ROM. But yeah, that is the S10. Tell me in the comments if you think this was worth it for the S20 Fe that had its issues. I definitely do think it is. I'll get a new battery for this at some point, but it doesn't need anything else. The speakers are good, by the way, unlike on my S20, where one of the speakers is pretty much blown. But that's great. I'm definitely going to custom ROM this and mess around with this. And I'm absolutely going to get a case for this today, in case you're wondering. I will not get a screen protector for this. It's simply not worth it, but I will get a case. I will be getting it after this video, I promise. So yeah, that's the S10. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this. Should I have kept the S20 FE for this or not? Do you think this is a cool phone, etc.? Let me know. And we'll move on to the next one. So the next phone, I wanted incredibly badly. I begged to get this because I really wanted to get it because I knew it would be something that I would never ever see again in my life because I live in Europe. And yes, that explains a lot about the phone that we're going to take a look at. So over the course of the year, I've had 3 Samsung Galaxy S8s. One of them had a very purple tinted display, a very smashed back, but it worked perfectly. I threw Pixel Experience on there and gave it back to my friend. He then later traded a few things with that phone. I later got a Samsung Galaxy S8 out of bad condition leftover parts, basically, which did become my own S8 for a while. The S8 that I featured on this channel, which was when I, got a new phone in my collection, that one, I did go ahead and watch that, by the way. It's on my channel somewhere. That S8 was the first S8, and I did give that back to my friend, so it's not in my collection anymore. My friend had it, but after that, he gave me a S8 made from smashed leftover parts, and it had a really bad display, but the AMOLED was really good, but it was incredibly cracked. It looked like garbage, and it had motherboard issues. Basically, it had a bad NAND chip, so it would completely lock up after a while, and if I put the heat gun over the motherboard, it would work again for 2 days. And it would boot loop after that. So it really was a bad NAND chip, which is weird to see because these S8s seem to be absolutely bulletproof phones. They're amazing. But yeah, after a while, I had to constantly take the motherboard out to, kind of reball the NAND chip, and eventually I broke the connector on the main board that connects to the subboard. So I couldn't charge it anymore. And the battery life was also atrocious, of course, but that's not something I worry about with a phone that is this smashed. But yeah, I basically had to wireless charge it every single time, and it just wasn't worth using at the end of the day anymore, and the motherboard died again, and I was like, you know what? I offered it to my friend, and he didn't want it, and, I just gave it back to him. And the third S8 that I got, well, he did end up reusing that display. It did have 2 giant blobs in it. It was really broken at that point, but he did make a S8 from that with that Pixel Experience motherboard that I talked about in a little bit. But yeah, that one just was unusable at that point. So yeah. And another S8 that I was given for a little while to put a custom ROM on. Actually, I think I've gone through like 4 or 5 S8s. Wow. I don't think I'm gonna talk through all of them, but yeah, I've had a lot of S8s, but they were all Exynos and they were all non-pluses. Guess what I got this time? A Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. And you're probably thinking, well, why is the lettering on the back? You're European, right? You should have the Exynos model. No, my friends. This is a Snapdragon Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. Yes, so this is not a SMG 955F. This is a SMG 955NU. No, SMG 955U. So it's the unlocked USA variant. And I checked, it is. It indeed is. And it works. But the reason I haven't shown you the front yet is this. I'll show you. Yeah, there's no display. The display on this was broken, and I even took the cable out. The display on this was smashed, but it did work. He just had really bad display issues, so my friends decided it was time to rip off the display. Don't ask me why he did that. It's really dumb, I know, but he did it. So what I will be doing with this phone, I really badly wanted this because it had the Snapdragon in it. And I've had lots of S8s. I'd say I've gone through like 5 from him. One of them also had kind of green spots in the display, but it works completely fine. He ended up selling that. And I also had a lilac version for a little while, which had a giant black spot in the display, and it looked really, really bad on one side. And I put a custom ROM on there, but it didn't work anymore. So I threw Samsung Experience on there, Oreo, and it works completely fine. It just has a really, really bad display. So I've gone through like 5 S5s, S8s, not S5s, which is pretty crazy. The first one I custom ROM'd for him. The second one was made out of bad leftover parts that I kept until it just wasn't worth using anymore. The third one was basically that phone, except with an even more broken display and a Pixel Experience board that just wasn't worth using anymore because it couldn't charge. The fourth one was the one with the green spots I just mentioned, which he ended up selling, which was silver, and the lilac one that I just mentioned. Which he still has. So that's 5 S8s. It's absolutely insane. But I never had an S8 Plus, and this feels really huge for an S8, despite that it's only 6.2 inches, which is really laughable, because the S10 is 6.1, and it's a base model. By the way, in case you're curious, this does have 8 gigs of RAM. So it's not a bad base model. It's not a crappy 6 gig RAM model. And I will be doing a battery health test on this. By the way, I haven't done that yet. But yeah, getting back to the S8 Plus, this does work. I plugged it in, it vibrates, and the red LED starts going on. And I even powered it on. It does work. The speaker works. This has no missing parts at all. I took it apart a few minutes ago. Everything is there. I did end up taking out the display cable because the display cable was ripped, but the connector itself is good. The battery is original and good. So yeah, this was basically never taken apart. It's just that the display was really smashed, and he ended up ripping that off. And yes, despite that this back is incredibly cracked, I will keep it. By the way, I was kind of wrong. It does miss one part, the SIM tray. But who gives a fuck about that? This thing has enough internal storage. I don't need to throw a micro SD in here. But yeah, that's an S8 Plus Snapdragon. Incredibly rare. I am very sure that I will never come across one of these again, at least in my country. So I'm going to be trying and fixing this. I'm definitely going to try to get a S8 Plus in mint condition and basically swap the motherboards between the two. Or swap the displays, but I don't think I can even do that. So what I think I'm going to do is just switch motherboards, because is this frame really in good condition? I mean, it's in okay condition, but it definitely has scuffs and stuff like that. So yeah, I won't be doing that. I think I'll just get another S8 Plus and swap the motherboards between the two and the back glasses, because I don't care that this is smashed. I want to use this because it has a lettering on it, and if it ever breaks, then I'll have a spare black glass panel. That is from the Exynos model, but that doesn't really matter. So yeah, really cool phone. I really wanted to get this incredibly badly. Tell me what you think of this. Was this worth it? Was this in general worth it for the crappy S20 Fe that I had? Really curious what you think. Let me know down in the comments. I will be trying to restore this S8. Maybe I'll try to get one for my birthday. Another S8 Plus and Exynos. And I'll just swap the boards, because I'm pretty damn sure these boards are just swappable between the two. And even if they aren't, I'll still have a nice S8 Plus. I want to get that phone in my collection anyways, even if it's an Exynos. I bet they have better battery life than the S8 non-Plus. But yeah, really cool phone. I will absolutely keep this in my collection. I'm not going to give this away. Don't worry. It really is something that I would want in my collection, but I just never thought that I would come across it. And here I am, finally having a Snapdragon S8 Plus. Really freaking cool. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Like if you want, subscribe if you want. I'm not begging you to. Do it if you like this, if you liked this video. Or if you think I yapped too much, then just don't. Whatever your choice is. Hope you have a great day, and see y'all in the next video.